Morning, guys. Mark Ferrasci, Protect Dog Training in Simba. We're at the park now. We already did our first turn off this morning. I'm back at the park. I'm going to start with the same process of trying to make sure I know exactly where it's at. Now, why would that be important? It's because he doesn't understand the feeling, and it's also something we don't want to have an accident where we're over and he has to be dealing with that higher stimulation level that might blow him out of the water mentally, right? We want just enough to be able to give him the idea of what's going on here, to be able to communicate to him with a three-way turnoff what this collar is all about. That starts everything, right? Aussie, Aussie, come on, good boy, good. So I'm going to get out here like I did before. I was on a 4 before, so we're going to take it to 4. Now we're at the park, though. Here's the thing you need to understand, and I tell a story all the time. Simba, couche, good, pavoje, where let me get this camera set so I can sit down and talk to you a little bit. All right, that's good. So I tell the story all the time as far as how this thing works in regards to the way the brain deals with it. It's brand new. Is I make sure that I communicate properly, and then I also know a tendency to want to climb the body, and I don't like that. You pavoje, you understand me? All right, good. So if I was at home and I had kids at my house and I was in the, let's say hypothetically, I'm in the kitchen one day and I'm doing dishes and I need the trash taken out. And Joey's sitting on the couch, he's playing a game, right? Playing a PC game at the TV, whatever, doesn't matter. He's into that. And I say, Joey, I need to check out the trash. And Joey doesn't hear me because Joey's just glued into what he's watching and he doesn't hear it. Joey, I need to take out the trash. Joey doesn't hear it again. Joey, I need you to take out the trash. And Joey's still so into that, he didn't even hear that. You finally get so frustrated, you walk up and kind of smack him by the head and it. Joey, boom, what's up? What's going on? Okay, it's a great example of how environment and your concentration level takes you away from its auditory exclusion, basically, right? So you end up having a situation where the dog can't hear you because he is so engrossed in smells, other items, maybe somebody in the park walking by. There's a lot more stimulation going on mentally to the environment that will overshadow his ability to feel this, right? That's why we start out teaching him about this color in a neutral situation, and we turn it to the level, we're trying to find that level. In the very beginning, it's very important to do this on a daily process until he gets so much of an understanding of the color, we don't need to do that later on down the way because he now understands the color, and you're going to have familiarity of what level you need to go to. We don't keep it at the same level. It doesn't stay there. It goes up and down based on environment, based on a lot of different things you're trying to apply it for, what you need it for, right? As far as maybe I need something that's a little higher to get through all that. But in the beginning, it wouldn't be fair to the animal because he doesn't understand what this means. So we got to take our time in doing this whole process. It's called the three-way turnoff. Where did we get this? Many, many years ago, back in the 80s when I first started, the stim collars were huge old bricks, and you had to take out one and then put in another one. Things have changed now. They got these diodes now that I can just roll this up or down and get whatever level on the fly, like that quick, right? I have a lot more control. I also have stimulation that gives me vibration and a sound, right? And that gives me other things that I can do with it. Now, I talked about that earlier this morning on the last video that we did, talking about context in regards to the collar and having it stay as a three-dimensional. I look at it that way. It's a three-dimensional tool because I've got vibration, I've got sound, I've got all kinds of things to be, I've got an ability to go from a low level to a higher level. I have a total control with how this is used. Also, because I've got a button, I can just tap it. But we have to condition the dog. We got to get them understanding what this tool is all about, right? And I'll say it again, it's only as good as the person using it. If you have a person out there that doesn't have the education and doesn't have the experience, in other words, a lot of this is because of my ability to read the dog's body language. That's why, for me anyway, this is my opinions on this. I don't bring a stim collar in until I'm almost done with the training program. This dog has already been through my training program. He understands. So I'm adding this into his lexicon, adding the stim collar to give the customer more ability to control the animal. But it's a nuanced tool, meaning you need to know how to understand dog psychology, how we condition the dog, no, good, and yes. All those things should be understood by the person using this collar. Because if you have ignorance and you just go buy this thing off the thing and you think you're going to punish behavior away, you're doing a disservice to the dog, and you're making a tool turn into a one-dimensional tool because you're only using it in a punishment. Can you do it that way? Sure you could. You could punish the dog getting into the trash, whatever it may be, but now you've taken this tool that's expensive. This is about $250, maybe even more now with all the price raises that we've got, where it's expensive, right? So a tool like this, if I turn it into a one-dimensional tool and I'm only using it for punishment, I've just taken this and I might as well just throw it in the friggin' trash, right? Because now I've just reduced the value of this down to a minuscule because I've only got a one-dimensional tool, when in reality you have a three-dimensional tool that you can use for all kinds of things. I can use it for gas, meaning get excited and go when he feels that stimulation. I can, and we call that gas. I can use it for suppression, stop that. That's called break. Most people use it in the context of break because they don't understand the full psychology of dog psychology and conditioning an animal, so they only use one facet of it. And they take this, it's a three-dimensional tool they can use for all kinds of things. It got a myriad of quality. There's a huge amount of things that I can do with this. And if I treat it in that three-dimensional way, I like to explain it like this. It's like a game of chess. If I'm playing a game of chess and I have a person across the board with me and I'm trying to reach out mentally and project what's going to happen 3 or 4 or 5 moves ahead. The better I am at chess, the chess masters that can get to 6, 8, 12 moves ahead, and their brain can get really a lot because of practice and because of experience and because of knowledge. They can project their brain out a lot farther. Right? That's the whole thing. Now, if you took that same board that I'm playing that person across the board with, I've only got one facet of it. Now, if I take a three-dimensional chessboard, have you ever seen the three-dimensional chessboards and you're doing things dimensionally? That means that it's expanded mental ability to be able to really expand. You've got to really be able to increase your projection out a lot more. Right? And so because of that, that's why I talk about three-dimensional, because I want you to think of it that way, that it's a three-dimensional tool, and if I respect it and do things right, very methodically, layering in the color and do the right thing, I've now got a tool that I can use for all kinds of things, right? And the more knowledge the dog has, the better you're going to do in that respect, right? So try to make sure you realize that and don't turn it into a one-dimensional tool. Because if you do, like I said, you might as well just throw your money away, right? Because it's got so much more potential. It's how you bring it in and how you use the tool that increases the quality of it, and it's your knowledge, right? Again, the tool is only as good as the person using it. A lot of times you'll have inexperienced trainers that really don't know what they're doing, and they'll slap it and they're using it for punishment. Maybe they have a day that they're real frustrated. Nope. And they're ending up using it and they fry the dog. They put it on high and they just, and you can't do that if you're expecting the dog to be in quality, right? As soon as you lose your composure and you start using it all punishment, you just took that and you just reduced everything as far as animal conditioning, right? Be fair to the animal. Use it when you have the knowledge base to really understand it. And here's the thing I have over most people too. Couche. Good. Is the fact that I can read this dog's body language. I can sense what he's feeling and where his emotional states of mind, because that's my job as a professional to understand all that. That makes it a lot better for me to use this tool for somebody that doesn't have a clue and doesn't have that experience under their belt, right? Remember, dog trainers that get out there, these kids that want to just hang up a shingle and say, poof, I'm a dog trainer, have a long time to learn to have all kinds of different breeds, all kinds of different dogs, and be able to understand the dog's body language and what makes that dog tick as far as his inner core and his drives based on his breeding, his genetic stamps. Meaning, if I have a terrier breed, couche, babouche. If I have a terrier breed, a ratter, right, something that wants to go after vermin, he has a certain drive states and all based on his genetic stamp, what he was bred to do, right? And every dog is like that. Rotties, Mastiffs are all different. But you have to understand the dog's drives and what makes him tick, right? All right, so enough of that theory lecture that we're giving you. Let me see if I can get the dog to show me that he feels this. And we're at a neutral. He's in a down, on. He registered a little bit. And there's where I have to make a decision, because how much is this environment going to overshadow what he can feel and where his brain is at? I may need to bring it up to a 5, maybe a 6, something in the, but he doesn't have any association right now, so I don't want to do that if I don't have to. So I'm going to, right now I was on a 4, which was where we were at earlier. Remember what we started with back at the house was a 4, right? And I didn't see any recognition from the dog, so I'm coming over here and making sure I wag it through the fur, make sure I get it really and that it's tight. I'm checking that to make sure I have good contact. And notice his brain is in a different place because of environment, because he's where he's at. He's at a 4 on, there it is. Okay, that's what I wanted. And sure enough, he gave me a recognition. He kind of cocked his head a little bit, turned around. That was perfect. So now I know he can feel it. And I may fluctuate it up to a 5 or 6, knowing that this environment, smells, all the stuff that's going on around him may overshadow it, just like Joey on the couch, right? All right. Yep. All right, so let's go over here. We're going to carry the camera and everything over this way, and I'm going to set it up. Oops, sorry about that, guys. I'm a one-man army. I only got myself. I don't have a bunch of kids running around with phones and cameras and trying to set up anything. And I'm not a... Those guys get their head into it so much that they're all about creating digital magic that allows you to be able to have fun and entertainment. Well, I'm not that kind of guy. I'm just by myself. I'm just on a tripod. I'm doing the best job I can with the tools I got. And it's about knowledge. It's about giving you knowledge and trying to pass that knowledge on to you. I've got years of experience doing what I'm doing. And I love to teach. That's why I do these videos, you know, and that's why a lot of guys, I have one trainer that runs around saying, you're giving away everything. And he gets upset because he thinks that you want to charge for this knowledge, right? Well, reality and truth, I'm still going to get clients coming in. So now he's doing his own thing. Look where the dog's head's at. Perfect. Simba. 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 Good. All right, so we went all the way up to a 12 or 14. And I can not even feel this. It's really interesting. Humans, you put it on your hand to test and let people feel what this feels like. You go to 5, 6, 8. Most people won't even feel it until it's about a 12. And that's on your palm, right? So we try to do that so people can start to understand what that stimulation feels like and realize that when I'm down at a 4, I'm at nothing, right? 5, 6, we're still at almost nothing. Most dogs aren't even feel a lot of times. They won't feel it until about 8 or 9. And it depends on environment that washes out that feeling, right? So we're now in a spot that environment's washing it out, okay? So I'm going to raise that to a higher level. And I'm now at about a 12. Simba. Good boy, good, there you go. And that kind of startled him. You see how he reacted? Good boy, Simba, good. But he's deep into his thought. He's deep into smelling, deep into being a dog. I was at a 12. That was a little too high. But he didn't give a heavy jerk, but I'm going to go down to an 8. Okay? Simba, good boy, good. That's 8's a little, now he's registering it because he's aware of what's going on. So now his brain picked it up. So I'm going to go all the way down to back to a 6. Which is low enough. We started at a 4 when we just dialed it in at the table. And you saw him kind of look down. But remember, environment's going to wash it out. So with Joey on the couch, he's busy and his brain is totally into something, right? We're going down to a 6. That's just 5. Simba. Simba, good boy, good. Now I kept it on and used the leash to pull him back into me before I let it go. I could sense that the dog was feeling it, so I kept it on long enough for him to learn that when his action started coming back to me, that he was the one that turned it off because I let the button go when his brain registered that you got to come back to me, right? Good boy, Simba. You go potties? You go potties. Good boy. Good. I like what we got here. There's enough draw and overshadow that I can start teaching the dog what this means, right? Good boy. Good boy. You go free, hon. You go free, hon. Good boy. Good. Simba. Good. There you go. That's on a 5. And right when he started backing my way, I released it. A lot of food, a lot of praise, and I motivate the dog to come back into me with me moving backwards, whatever it takes. It doesn't matter. I want him to learn that he's the one turning it off with his action. Remember, this is something that he already knows very well. He knows what he's supposed to be doing. So I'm not using anything. I'm not teaching the dog anything with a stem collar. I'm just reaffirming the laws of things, how they work. And this dog's already got all this in his lexicon. He's already been trained. He understands the conditioned heel. Good boy, Simba. You go freehand? You go freehand. Good boy. Good boy. Now he's becoming hyper aware because I've done it a couple times. So I'm going to walk around the park. I'm going to loosen him up and I'll come back to it in different spots around the park. But that was a good example for you. All right. And remember, this is only the second time that we've used this collar. And now we have an environment that's overshadowing a lot more. Right? And so now we need it. Smells, getting in all these dogs that come out here and piss on this tree. His brain is just totally into that. He's being a dog, right? So we need to be aware of that and work with our levels accordingly. Don't take it up to a level that overwhelms the dog where he's got associations of negative. We want to keep it low enough. We want to keep it in that little pocket where he's got power to turn it off and all that without going to the level that says, oh, that hurts. We don't want that. We just want him to experience it and feel that tingle. All right. I'm going to go ahead and shut you guys off because I got work to do. Mark Ferrasci, Protect Dog Training, and Simba showing you how to layer in a collar. Talk to you later.